In that case, which role gives you more satisfaction, as the game designer or as the one who running your own company?
Yeah, so this is I hate both of these jobs. Sorry to say that.
Hello and welcome from Metro Manila, Philippines. This is Cardboard Buzz. Let's get going. Good day, everyone, and welcome to Cardboard Buzz. And today, everyone, we have something really special for you. You already heard his voice at the beginning of this episode, and yes, you are right. We had the amazing opportunity to talk to the CEO and founder of Portal Games, the designer of hit board games Stronghold, Imperial Settlers, Detective, and some of the newest games Emperors of the North and Preta-Porter, the bringer of board games that tells us stories, Mr. Ignacy Trzewiczek. The following will be our full interview with him. Hope you enjoy!
Ignacy, yeah. So again, thank you for giving us the time. You just sent out a message on Twitter, and you confirmed with us. So we would like to actually talk about your upcoming games and board game design in general. We have a bunch of questions from our listeners as well that we'd like to ask you. But I guess the first one we'd like to talk about is Preta Porte. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. If I'm not butchering the how to actually say the name, but
How do you pronounce?
Nobody has a clue how to pronounce it. Nobody, literally.
So I'm just gonna call it Pret-a-Port. Pret-a-Port.
Perfect.
I heard that from one of your podcasts before. So yeah, it's a very unique concept for a board game in the fashion industry. I don't think I've ever seen a board game about that business before. But so what made you decide to create a theme around fashion instead of something like videos or business?
Yes, it was many years ago, and we received a prototype from the young Polish designer called the Preta-Porte, and it was about the fashion. And back then, it was 2010, Portal Games, when we were releasing games, we were looking for the titles that don't need to be translated, so we can save on the cost of production. So if you look in the previous times, Neuroshima Hex, the same title all over the place. Stronghold, the same title all over the place. And of course, the same with the Preta-Porte. We said, okay, if the game has a title Preta-Porte, we will not need to translate it into different languages, so it is a winner for us. We will save some costs. So we accepted the prototype and we started working on that. Over the many months of designing the game, developing the game, this young designer, Jacek Nowak, said that he's tired of developing, he's tired of playtesting, he doesn't want to do anything more with the game, and he very politely tell us, get this prototype and I'm done. And of course, over the next months, we changed the game over and over and over again, and in the final version of the game, he's in the thanks section that it was his idea to create a game about the fashion, but basically we had to start from the scratch. So it was quite ridiculous that the friend of mine, Jacek, came to me with the prototype. We used the title, and then we changed everything else. And he ended up not being a designer, but being the thanks note and being the inspiration for us to create the game about the fashion. But yeah, all of that started with us trying to save on the cost of the production, because back then Portuguese was a very small company, and I had a chance to print the box in French, German, English as a one box was a winner for us.
Fascinating. So all of that was because you wanted to save on translation. How wonderful.
Yes,
Ivan?
and that ended up in a very unique team, and now I'm very proud that we have such a game in the catalog. But back then it was just us trying to save some money.
yeah, speaking of that theme, actually, we've heard that you tried to entertain the idea of it being in the video game industry. I mean, for the newer edition, right? Because
Yes,
it will be
yes.
coming out again. Yeah. Why did you decide to stick with the fashion theme?
So first edition of Preta-Porte, it didn't sell well. Portal Games was a small company back then. We didn't have a good distribution yet. The theme was very unique, but it was awkward. Like gamers, geeks don't want to play a game about making clothes. It is not a very good theme for the geeks. And the reception, on one hand, everybody was saying, hey, good job, very unique team. But on the other hand, nobody was buying the game. Like everybody was congratulating us for our courage, but then nobody was buying the game. And over the years, after the release of the game, I had so many emails and geek mails on Board Game Geek from the players who said, I own a copy of Prêt-à-Porter. I love the game, but each time I go to my gaming club in my city and I put it on the table and I say that I want to play the game about the fashion, everybody laughs and don't want to play with me. And it was a recurring, and you cannot believe how many emails like that I received over the years. So when we were considering a new edition of the game, we decided that let's change the theme to the video game industry. So it is more appealing to the geeks. It is more appealing to our buddies, our industry, like video games. It makes perfect sense. And because one of the biggest fans of the game on the planet, Rado runs through, he loves Prêt-à-Porter. It is in his top 10 games of all time. And before he became an influencer and reviewer, he worked in the video game industry. Like he had his background. So we reached to him, and he said yes, he wants to develop with us a new edition of Prêt-à-Porter. He wants to help us use his experience to change Prêt-à-Porter to this great video game industry game. So this was our plan for like 2 or 3 years. And we had a meeting with Rado at Essen, brainstorming, great time. And now the question remains why we stick with the fashion team. When we announced that we are changing the team, of course, ton of emails from the fans who says, no, don't change the team, we love the original team. And I'm saying in every single interview, the team with the fashion didn't sell, I'm changing it. No, please don't change it, it's awesome, it's unique. But on a serious note, as you can see, in the past few years, we have a great change in the especially in North America. It is very easy to see. Great change that finally gamers and games are much more open for women, for families. It is much more open as a hobby than this 10 years ago. When you went to the Gen Con on any North America convention like 5 or 10 years ago, it was just the geeks playing war games, and role-playing games, and there was no woman whatsoever. Now it's a great, flourishing hobby. So many women attracted to this hobby, and families, and everybody's playing the games. So we saw the opportunity. There is this new segment of the gamers who are women who love the bright, colorful, beautiful games, and the fashion is an interesting theme for them. And we said, okay, so let's make a test. Let's make a risk. And we decided we will not go for the retail because it's risky. We will just go to the Kickstarter. We will announce that we are doing fashion mode, and we will see if it works. If the fashion team will work, we will release the game. If the fashion team will not work, we'll consider going back to the video game industry. But as everybody knows already, the fashion team worked. There was a lot of backers. We were very successful. So apparently, of course, Portal Games is now much bigger company than many years ago. That's obvious. But I want to see this in a bigger picture, wider picture. The industry changed. We are much more now open for everybody, and I do believe so much more women playing, girls playing games, and we can be more open, not only killing orcs, killing trolls, dark magic, necromancers. Like we can do different themes than standard fantasy or science fiction. So I'm proud that I'm part of this movement of new interesting themes.
Absolutely, yeah. And congratulations for that successful Kickstarter campaign.
Thank you.
Just to share my experience, when I told my little sister and my friends that there's an upcoming new game about the fashion industry, and they saw the artwork, they were very, very excited. They're not really hardcore gamers, but when they saw, they were very interested because this is a unique concept, and they've always wanted to play business in the fashion industry, especially with shows like Project Runway. So this industry really appeals to them. So you're doing a great service by having exploring new themes beyond magic and other common themes for board games.
Thank you.
Yeah, so a testament as well to the world progressing, and yeah, for everyone who doesn't know, I mean, Kickstarter, it really did well. The target was a $35,000 and you reached $270,000.
Wow.
So yeah, that's really great. I guess what I wanted to ask was, did you expect this kind of turnout?
No, we didn't expect that, and of course, some people might not believe now. Somebody may say this is a false modesty, etc., etc. But because I am super transparent and I'm all over the social media with the Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram, like people who are hardcore fans of Portal games were literally seeing me on this very Monday when the Kickstarter started that I got crazy because things were absolutely out of the control in the first hours of the Kickstarter. We were completely not prepared with announcing stretch goals because we had some plan, we had some expectations, and we had these stretch goals prepared for for these 2 weeks. And all these stretch goals were open in the first day of the campaign. We were completely not prepared for that. Because we are doing a vlog, Portal Games vlog on YouTube every single week, people who watch this vlog were able to see that in the company, before the Kickstarter began, we made a betting. So I, as the owner of the company, asked every employee to put a bet how many buckets we will have in the first day and how many buckets we will have at the end of the campaign. So you can literally see, and we put it in the vlog, so everybody saw what were our expectations, and everybody was so wrong. Like we didn't expect what will happen.
Yeah.
My bet, as far as I remember, my bet was 300 backers, and we had like 1,000. Like it was absolutely out of the blue. We didn't see that coming. We were very happy. We will remember because I stayed in the office with my employees, couple of my employees, in the evening to manage the campaign. And this is one of these moments we, as a group of friends, will remember till end of our lives. Like we were literally seeing that craziness is happening, and we were looking at the monitor screen, and the numbers were just changing, new backer, and we were like, oh my god, we are not prepared. And then we're like, okay, screw it, we'll do it in the morning because it is absolutely out of the control. Magical moments, a very successful Kickstarter campaign. I don't think we will ever have something like that again, because it was absolutely magical.
Yes, it's a pretty big success for Portal Games, and we wish the same for your upcoming games as well, which I guess we should talk about now. Empires of the North was released, right? You have the expansion now, the Japanese islands coming up as well. Yeah, in relation to that, actually, there was a question from our listeners who wanted to ask, what was the idea? What triggered the idea to design Empires of the North when there was already Imperial Settlers? We love the game, by the way, Imperial Settlers. And engine building, tableau building, but they would just like to know they're set in the same universe and both are card games about building an empire. So, what triggered I want to build Empires of the North?
Yeah, so it is you already almost answered the question. Like we had so many fans who love Imperial Settlers, who love engine building games, but after playing Imperial Settlers for 5 years in a row, you might be sick of this game. Like you might say, okay, I played this game 100 times, I love it, but I'm done. Like I cannot look at this card anymore. So we decided, and here in the office, me and Joanna, my developer, we love this kind of game. So card games that you build your engine and you're building these combos. We love that style of game. Yes. So instead of coming with another faction or another set of the cards that will just add, of course, some twists and some new opportunities, but it will be still once again the same Imperial Settlers, we said, okay, Joanna, let's sit, let's try to brainstorm, let's try to come up with a new engine building game that will give new powers, new emotions, new energy to play for the people who already love Imperial Settlers but are tired of this game. And here we have Empires of the North. Of course, it's very confusing for everybody, so the whole year 2019, my main marketing purpose is to send a very clear message. These are two very different games. There are two games that are set in the same universe, and they have the same genre of the game. So if you look at the Board Game Geek database, this is engine building game. This is the genre of the game, but they are very different. They work differently. I had so many questions on the Twitter that, can I use the cards from Empires of the North in the Imperial Settlers? No, these are different games. You cannot use cards from Race for the Galaxy in Imperial Settlers. You cannot use, like these are different games. They share the word, and they share the genre, this engine building game. But these are completely different games. They work differently. There is a action wheel with the special actions you can do. There is a sailing mechanism. There is so many different mechanisms. And we are now releasing the first expansion for the game this year at Essen. both me and Joanna, and once again, I strongly don't believe in a false modesty, which means that everybody says that I'm a cocky and I like to brag, but I don't care because I really love what I design. I really love this game. So we are literally playing with Joanna, sometimes after hours sitting and just playing, sometimes when playtesting some new content. And we both are very proud of Empires of the North. I like it, it's fast, it's quick, and it gives me this feeling of creating some synergies between cards, some super combo, trying to score as fast as possible to 25 points. And now after these many months of designing Empires of the North, after these many months of designing now Japanese islands, and spoiler alert, we are designing something even more. So like past year was almost full-time Empires of the North content and new cards and new combos. I was exactly this weekend, I'm serious. This weekend I was considering to take Imperial Settlers from the show because now I'm like slowly missing the Imperial Settlers. Like I'm slowly thinking, okay, and now I'm ready to get back to Imperial Settlers. So this is what we want to achieve, of course, here. Like we want to now make you play Empires of the North for many months, having great time, having this new energy, and then, well, I miss Imperial Settlers. And maybe in 2021 or sometimes you will go, okay, now it's time to go back to Imperial Settlers. So two different games, the same game style. I like them both. Very proud of that. And well, and I will keep explaining in all interviews, different games, the same genre. Different games, the same genre.
So for anyone listening to our podcast, Imperial Settlers and Empires of the North, they are two different games.
Correct.
Same genre, but you're right. The part that I loved about Empires was the cards that you compose and the combos that you can create. So having that with Empires of the North is very exciting for me, and I love that you added that wheel, the action wheel. So I'm looking forward to try that as well. So good idea for having a separate game. And we're very excited that you have an Asian expansion with Japanese islands for Empires of the North. But I wanted to ask you, maybe you wanted to, if you have any thoughts of having a Philippine expansion for your Philippine fans here. You know, our country also has a naval history. We have kingdoms here, and we have many islands for exploration. So if you ever want to decide to create another Asian expansion, the Philippines is waiting.
This is always a great question because as you can imagine, each time I visit different countries or have a conversation with different fans, they always ask me for the expansion in their country. And even more, I live in Poland and I'm a Polish designer and I have a company in Poland and we didn't do a Polish faction yet. So you can imagine that on every single convention in Poland, I'm when there is a Poland coming to Imperial Settlers, and I say, hey guys, and designed by yourself. So of course we cannot release expansions for every country in the world, but we definitely encourage everybody to create fun created content. Portal Games is known for supporting and encouraging players to create their own factions, and to be honest, there is in the internet there is a faction for Poland, a Slavic faction. So some fans created a fan-made faction, and we were promoting it on our channels. So I cannot promise you that I will do a Philippine faction, but I strongly encourage you guys come up with the idea, and then I will talk about this in my social media and my vlog, and I will show it, I will play test it, I will have fun with that. But you need to do some work, okay?
Yes, definitely. Once we get a copy of the game, we'll invite some Filipino players, and we'll see if we can come up with a new expansion. Speaking of new games, you also have one that's coming out, Detective. You came out with a new case, Natural Causes for Detective.
Yeah. What we wanted to ask is there any reason why you decided to give away a free case for Detective? We know it's been out for a while now. People are enjoying it, and people are surprised. Oh, there's a free case for Detective. Yeah. So we're just wondering, where did it come from?
We had with Detective, we had a success that never before happened in the company. We sold this is the most popular game we ever produced. We are very proud, and we see a chance that this might be our evergreen title for many years to come. And when you look at the video game industry,
Yes.
There's so many video games that have a demo, like whether it is a PlayStation game or this is a Switch game or this is a PC game.
Yeah.
Publishers are doing this demo. You play one level of the game and you will like it or not. You will decide if you want to buy. We are very confident. And when you play Detective, you will like it. Like the feedback we have when we run demos at conventions, the feedback we have, of course, from you, from the players, the rating on Board Game Geek super high, still super high, 8.2 I think. Like this is insanely high rating, great reviews. So we have this strong belief that if we will convince people who were skeptical and will tell to them, hey, it's a free case, download the cards, print one page, because you have to print one page, only one page with the board, and that's it. And you can invite your friends, have a great game night. It is about 90-minute case, and then you will decide if you want to buy Detective or not. And we strongly believe that it's like a first booster for Magic the Gathering. If you have the first booster for Magic the Gathering, you are screwed up because you will start buying all of them. So yes, on a serious note, we do believe that the game provides a great experience, and so many of these people who will try these natural causes will decide to go into the full game. We will see over the upcoming months how many players will actually test this. If players are lazy and maybe they don't want to print one page, maybe they don't want to download the cards. But from our perspective, we are one of the first publishers, or maybe even the first publisher, who created a full-blown amazing demo of the product. You can download it for free, you can play it, you can test it, and then you can make a purchase decision if you want to buy the game or not.
So
we will see. We released this natural causes case 2 weeks ago from our website, and we put also the files on Board Game Geek, so everybody can find them on Board Game Geek. And after a month or two, we will see how many players actually played the game, because the game uses the website, so we have the data. We have the data. We know how many players are playing, how many players finished the case, how many players lost the case. So we know all this data, and therefore we will then decide if this effort of creating this case, because as you can imagine, on the one hand, your listeners might think, hey, Portal Games is nice. They give away product and they don't charge. They don't want money. But this product we had to develop. Like these 2 months of the work of writing the case, developing the case, playtesting the case. So it was 2 months of our work, and we will evaluate if it was worth it. I strongly believe it was. I strongly believe that everybody who will test this case will have a great time and hopefully will consider buying the full game.
Exactly, yeah. So I think we are one of them. we have a game night set to try out the natural causes case actually, and we'll let you know. But yes, one thing that amazes us with Detective actually is, it is a marriage between traditional board gaming and the use of, digital advancements with the websites, and you also have different apps for your games as well. We just want to ask if there's something hidden under your bedside table or something. Is there any game that is again going to include modern technology that you're probably working on right now?
At this point, no. At this point, even more. At this point, there is no game I'm developing. Like at this point, I'm sort of the vacation. And on a serious note, of course, because this is never vacation for me, but I'm developing expansions and new content for existing games, like Detective, like Imperial Settlers, like Empires of the North. So I'm now developing expansions. This becomes crazy, because with so many games I already released, now is my full-time job is just creating expansions, because you fans want expansions. So I have no time for the new games. So I'm not sure what will happen in the future. I don't know what I will design in the next year. But as for now, I'm finishing developing Stronghold Undead, and I'm writing new cases for Detective. But in general, I'm not scared of technology. I do believe that if used well in the board games, it may increase the experience. And of course, if there's too much technology, then we feel like we are playing video game instead of the board game. So always I keep in mind, if you want to play a board game, you want to play the board game. But some technology tweaks, some gadgets, some neat ideas may increase the immersion, increase the value. So that's why in Detective you have this website that pretends that you are logging to police website and you are pretending that you are looking for the suspect's data, etc. So it increases the gameplay value, and you are sitting with your friends, you are sitting at the table, you are discussing, you're having your donuts, you're drinking coffee, and one of you is just logging to the police website and, hey guys, I just found this suspect, he's in this prison, we can interrogate him. And this is not breaking immersion, this is adding to the immersion. So I strongly believe that the technology used wise will just make the board game even better.
Yeah, we look forward to using those tools when we have our detective game night very soon. Speaking of expansions that you mentioned, one of our viewers here asked if do you have any plans of future expansions for Robinson Crusoe? Any new edition or scenarios for that one?
In January at PortalCon, each year in Poland we have an event called PortalCon, and during this event we announce our plans for the whole year. So we do it in January. It is an event for a few hundred people here in Poland who come to this amazing place, and there's a keynote and everybody is super excited. And of course we always live stream on YouTube this event. And at PortalCon in January we will announce a new expansion for Robinson Crusoe, so spoiler alert, but more details in January.
So for our listeners out there, stay tuned to January at PortalCon for official announcements from Ignacy.
Yeah.
And speaking of conventions, actually, we've heard that Portal Games would be at Essen Spiel this coming end of the month. What can they look forward to? Will they be seeing you there?
I will be for 2 days only. For the first time, I go to Essen only for 2 days. And so I will be there on Friday and Saturday. On Saturday, I have a keynote. So I strongly invite everybody. It is a keynote called 20 Years of Portal Games, and I will be talking funny jokes and funny stories from 20 years of running company. So you can imagine in these 20 years, many funny things happened. So it will be a funny seminar for everybody. And I will be at Essen, as I mentioned, on Friday and Saturday. And yes, Portal Games, of course, will have a huge booth. We will have Empires of the North, Japanese Islands. We will have a Pret-a-Porter. We have a new expansion for Neuroshima Hex called Sandrunners. So as for us, huge operation, as always, a big booth for new products. And me personally, I will just come, meet with the fans, get cookies, hopefully, and bring cookies home. And that's my plan for Essen.
By the way, if you're traveling you want to include any Asian countries, you're more than welcome to demo your games here in the Philippines. You can have PortalCon Asia if you want here. We have many fans here, and we have lots of cookies for you if you ever decide to visit.
That sounds tempting. Thank you.
Yeah, so I think since you are a board game designer and also an author, actually, we tried to read some of your blog posts, and we've discovered your book, The Board Game That Tells Stories.
Yes.
That actually talks about game design as well. So we would like to ask you a few questions about that and board game design in general, since there are also a lot of us here that are aspiring designers. Board game designers that one day want to get published. But I guess my first question on that regard is, have you had an experience, I guess, since I think we're kind of noticing that you like worker placement. Have you had an experience wherein you wanted to implement a game mechanic, maybe because it relates to the theme or your favorite worker placement, but it just doesn't work?
Yeah, so exactly as you mentioned, most of my games, if not all of them, works using worker placement mechanism, which is super simple to use and to develop, and I love this mechanism. And yes, when I design a game, sometimes there are this situation that I have this brilliant idea that somehow doesn't work, and it pisses me off, and for a few weeks I'm trying to solve the problem and make it work, and it doesn't work, and at some point you have to look at this great idea and say, okay, it is not that great, it doesn't work, it sucks, destroy it. So of course there are these situations. I design very slowly. I'm not super fast with designing the games, and I'm using super simple mechanism. I envy and I look at the different designers like Rainer Knizia, like Bruno Catala, like all these smart guys who can come up with this new idea for the mechanism. I'm just taking their ideas and I'm using them in my games. I never invented the mechanism. I'm just a guy who plays many games, and from these many games I'm stealing ideas. I wrote a series of articles on Board Game Geek about designing Empires of the North, this new game, and I gave a credit to all the designers. So in Empires of the North there is a boost cards mechanism that I stole from Underwater Cities. Underwater Cities is amazing game. I strongly recommend. Great Euro game, heavy Euro game from Vladimir Suchy. So I wrote the whole article how I stole this idea, why I love it, how I used it. Then I wrote a separate article about different games that I used as an inspiration. So basically, I'm playing games every week playing games. And if I find something very interesting, I'm making a note. I take it to my drawer with my ideas, and then when I'm ready to design a new game, I'm looking at these great ideas from different designers. Like, for example, in Empires of the North, once again, there is a draft mechanism. This draft mechanism is almost directly stolen. I say, you use the word stole as a joke, of course. It is inspired by Terraforming Mars, a great game. I love Terraforming Mars. I have it in my collection with all the expansions. And I love how you draft cards in Terraforming Mars. So I use this mechanism in Imperial Settlers. So in most cases, it is not me inventing mechanism. I'm not that smart. It's just me playing games and using this great, already invented mechanism in my designs.
This is great. This gives us inspiration because we play a lot of games, but we try to design our own games. But just like you, we get ideas from different by playing games. And
yes, if I can give you advice, I say during the seminars for the young designers, after playing a game, I have a special notebook, and after playing a new game, I try to think for a couple of minutes after the gameplay, and I make a note what I really liked in this game, what was cool, what was fun, and it not always have to be a rule. It may be like, I like the look of the cast, I like these icons, I like what was cool in this game, and then what I dislike in this game. So what was bothering me, what was not good. And right now I have this notebook with so many notes gathered over the years with all the things that I like in games and I don't like in the games. And then when I start to designing a new game, I'm browsing this notepad and looking for the inspiration. And on one hand, I have these red lights, what I don't like in the games, what I don't do in my games, and this green light, what are the good ideas from other games. So I strongly recommend, after you play a game, 5 minutes break and think what was awesome in this game and what sucked in this game.
Okay.
That's perfect. Yeah. Thanks for the advice. So we will take a note of that. But since you mentioned it as well, I just wanted to ask, how much time do you spend playing games versus designing games?
So I play games every weekend with my wife. My wife is a geek, so we play together every weekend. And I also play games every Monday. We have after hours, so after the work at 4 p.m. every Monday, me and a couple of my employees, not everybody, but a couple of my employees stay in the office for 4 hours. And for these 4 hours, we are playing different games. So basically, every weekend and every Monday, I play games. And then as for designing, it depends on the moment of the year. Like sometimes I design almost full time all the day for the couple of days because we have to finish design, or maybe I have the great moment with the good ideas. And sometimes I have to be CEO of the company, the owner of the company. And for example, for 2 weeks, I'm just doing invoicing, and negotiations and business stuff, and I'm not designing whatsoever. So for designing, it differs. And different months, different weeks, I put more and less time for designing. As for gaming, as a gamer, every weekend and every Monday, I play games, I discover games, I learn about the games, and I strongly believe that if you want to design games, you need to know what's popular, what's interesting, what's now trendy, etc., etc. So that's how we stay relevant. And when we released Detective, it was detective year. Everybody was playing detective games, and yes, we had detective because I knew there are these trends. Now this year, Portal Games released Imperial Settlers Roll and Write, so Roll and Write game, because I knew it is relevant. Now everybody's playing Roll and Write games, and Portal Games was ready. So I'm playing, I'm watching what you gamers are playing. I'm very active on Instagram and Twitter, and I'm discussing with the gamers what's popular, what they like. I try to be part of the community. I try to be part of the gamers community so I can know what I should design next.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And a good tip is to always stay relevant and be active in social media. How much feedback do you get from people who played your game, especially those who like to give you negative comments? Do you listen to those at all?
I listen to them when I start designing expansions or when I designing new editions. So when the game is released, I don't watch reviews, I don't read reviews, because as you can imagine, all reviewers are wrong. My game is awesome and they are all wrong. So like, if I watch the review, I'm just pissed off because this guy is wrong. So I'm not watching reviews whatsoever. But then when few months pass and I can become more objective, and less crazy, and when I know that I have to come up with the new content, either this expansion, either this a new edition, then I do research. I look what the reviewers were saying, what they were looking in this game, what they expect from the game, so I can be relevant and give a good expansion for them. So after the release of the game, absolutely I'm silent, no watching reviews because they are pissing me off. But then when I have to create new content, it's time to be smart, it's time to stop making jokes, and it's time to see what people are saying.
Yeah. So with the success of your games, we just wanted to know as well, when do you actually declare or confirm that the game is a success? Is it the number of copies sold, or when when the certain reviewer said it's good?
This is a very interesting question, and of course I have no idea, and I can give you a great example. So on one hand, the first Martians is known as my biggest failure. The very bad reviews, everybody was complaining on this game. It was a disaster for me. I spent designing this game 3 years. I put 3 years of my life into this game. It was released and it was disaster. Everybody hated the game, which was very sad for me. And so we can discuss if this was a failure. But you mentioned finances. In terms of the finances, this game brought me a lot of money. We sold more than 30,000 copies. Unfortunately, then we had 40,000 unhappy customers. But in terms of the finances, it was a huge success. It was one of the most successful games in the history of my company. And yet, I would not call it a success. I got a lot of money from the sold copies, but the reviews were terrible, and I was very sad and devastated with the feedback. On the other hand, with the detective, when I finished designing the detective, before even it went to the print, like we are talking about the final version of the prototype, I already felt like this is a success. Like, I love this game so much. We spent so much and so great time playtesting it. All my playtesters loved the game. They wanted to playtest the new cases, even though they were not ready yet. But they were, we want more, we want more. And even before sending to print, I knew Detective is a success. I loved this game, and I had a huge belief in that. And I was right. The game was released, and it was very successful. So you can look at the success from different perspectives. For me, when I finish design and I love this design, I'm happy. I think it is a success that I pulled off another great game, and I'm very proud of that. And sometimes it comes with the awards later, sometimes it goes with the money later. But for me, the success is when I finally finish the game and I'm proud of it. I'm happy.
Yes. So in your case, this would be the satisfaction as a creator, as a designer, is more important than the financial success of the game.
Yeah, because with the financial, I have no influence on that whatsoever. Sometimes you release the game and it becomes viral and becomes a hit. Sometimes you release a game and nobody cares about it, even though the game is very good. So with that, I have no way to change it. But with the design, this is the moment when I act, yes, and when I finish, I feel okay, I did a great job, I'm happy.
Yes, yeah. In your case, you have a unique perspective that maybe not a lot of game designers have. You're both a designer and at the same time the boss. You run Portal Games. In that case, which role gives you more satisfaction, as the game designer or as the one who running your own company?
Yeah, so this is I hate both of these jobs. Sorry to say that. I'm also a chief in Portal of the marketing department. and I
okay.
love marketing the part. So all marketing, all the blogs, vlogs, podcasts, the interviews, what we are doing now. I love talking about the game. So
Yeah.
the marketing part of the company, like spreading the word about our games, spreading the passion, sharing the passion with the fans. This is what I love, and this is what I would love to do 8 hours a day. But I cannot do marketing all the time because I have to design these stupid games that I don't like, and then I have to be a CEO and do business stuff, and some invoices, etc. And this is boring like shit. So basically, I hate to be CEO. I hate to design games. I love being marketing, but it is only 1/3 of my day.
Yeah, that's interesting. I guess that if you had a choice, you would rather be talking about your passion, the board game, than actually designing or becoming a businessman.
I make a lot of jokes in the company when my employees piss me off, and I say to them, okay, guys, I'm done. I'm closing Portal Games. I will send my CV and my resume to Simon, and I will be a chief of marketing of Simon, and see you there. And this is like ongoing joke in the company that at
Yeah.
some point I will just say, okay, I'm being as a marketing in a different company.
One thing that you can also try is being an author because we really love your book. We found that we were excited to know that your blog posts have been collected into a book, but we were disappointed to know that your second book, the book 2 for Board Games That Tell Stories, is not available in Kindle, only in print.
Oh yeah, this is with the Kindle. I'm making a note because this is like I heard about this already, and I forgot to change it. So I promise you there will be Boardgames That Tell Stories to Kindle. This
Yes,
is
thank you.
yes, I'm making a note right now.
Because I was already told Ivan to order it from Poland because it's only
No.
available in print.
No. No, I made a note, and it will be available in Kindle. So this is one conclusion from this interview.
Oh, thank you very much.
And thank you. And as for writing, my whole career and my whole job started with me writing. Like the first thing that happened with gaming and me, I wrote a scenario for a Warhammer role-playing game. So it was adventure for Warhammer, and I sent it to the magazine about role-playing games in Poland. They published it. They paid me money. I was, wow, this is interesting. I wrote an adventure. It was fun, and I got paid. So then I wrote many more articles for them about the Warhammer role-playing game. They published them all. They paid me for all of that, and I say, this is interesting path. I love it. And I started becoming a writer, and I wrote a ton of articles and adventures and expansions for role-playing games. And then around 2002, 2003, I discovered the world of board games. I fell in love with board games, and I became a designer of board games. But my whole career, it all started with me being a writer. So yeah,
Wow.
apparently writing is yeah, I love writing. Like with that, like I make jokes, but there's a salt of truth in that I don't like designing. It is always very difficult. It's very frustrating. It's like playtesting is a pain in the ass. So I am designer. I design a couple of games, but it's a very frustrating process, and I'm not loving that. But writing, yes, I love writing. I love to be a writer, and I have my blog, Boardgames That Tell Stories, and I really enjoy writing new stuff.
Right. It's all part of the creative process, and
Yes.
if you want to make things easier, I'm just wondering if you as the boss of Portal Games, just in case if you're going to be licensing titles, for Portal, what would you be looking for? Just something for the game designers out there.
Yeah, so we always look for the games that have it is called hybrid games. So the game that has a very solid rules, it is like a German game, Euro game. It is a very good, strong mechanism, but it has to have this amazing team, Ameritrash team that we geeks who love science fiction, who love fantasy, will enjoy. So that's when you look at the Portal Games catalog. Right now, next to me is a Stronghold Undead, our new game, and this is heavy, thinky, complex game that could be designed by Rainer Knizia or Stefan Feld. Like, this is a difficult, complex game, but the team is freaking amazing. The necromancer is throwing spells, and there's a mana, and there's skeletons on the walls. Like, there's all this crazy stuff happening, like in the fantasy novels. So the team is very strong, but the rules very solid, like designed by the German designer. So this is what we call hybrid games. So not Ameritrash, not Eurogame, but hybrid game. And this is what we try to publish at Portal Games. And this is what we do. Imperial Settlers has a great theme, but besides a great theme, it is a great engine building game. And if you look at our catalog, it is always true for our games.
Very interesting. Hybrid games. Yeah. Euro rules with Ameritrash theme. I'll keep in mind that.
Yes.
Yeah. You mentioned a couple of notable game designers. Apart from yourself, of course. Do you have any favorite designers that you like their games?
I absolutely adore, respect, and love Eric Lang. I think his games are absolutely amazing. Godfather, Blood Rage, he's a genius for me. I absolutely adore and love Richard Garfield, who is a super genius. He did, of course, Magic the Gathering back then, but now he came out with the Keyforge and King of Tokyo and Robo Rally, and you can just name the game he designs, and every game is amazing. I absolutely love and respect Bruno Catala, who makes these thinky games like Five Tribes. Like, you play this game and you cannot believe that somebody can come up with such a beautiful design. So, of course, I'm, as a designer and as a gamer, I have these favorite designers I love, I adore. Some of them I know personally, some of them are my friends, which is absolutely humbling for me, and I'm super proud that I can talk to these guys and discuss the design. Yes, Eric Lang, Richard Garfield, Bruno Catala, absolutely top 3 for me.
Yeah, speaking of Eric Lang, there were news that you were supposed to be designing a game with Eric Lang. Any updates with that?
Yes, we were designing the game for some time, but now, because of Detective and me writing new cases for Detective every single month, and Eric working for Simon and developing the games, now this project is on hold. I hope that we'll come back to this project sometime in the future, but now we had to take a break. He's working at Simon, I'm doing Detective. No chance to go back to this design desk together. No.
Maybe in future.
In future, hopefully future, because we had a great idea for the game, but time, there's no time.
Yes. Well, we'll hope that you will find time for it.
Thank you.
Yeah, in relation to your favorite designers, we're just wondering, can you name some of your favorite games, probably apart from those that you have designed?
On one hand, I absolutely respect and love the simple games that make our hobby so great and so big, and that made me play a game. So Ticket to Ride, amazing. Settlers of Catan, amazing. So there's many players, many geeks who trash Catan, say, oh, Catan is too random, Catan sucks. I say, no, Catan is a great game. Remember, you yourself, when you were beginning to be a geek, it is one of the games that bring people to gaming. So I love these simple games, and I play them sometimes really with my family, with my friends. So these simple games, I love it. For the different games, I love the games. There are lots of table talk. So when there is a lot of negotiations and bluffing and discussion and arguing. So I love the games like Resistance. I like the games like Bonanza, when you have to trade. I love the games like Mall of Horror, when you have to negotiate who gets killed. So all the games when you have to convince somebody at the table to do something. I'm very good in these games. I can talk, as you can already hear. I can talk and talk and talk. So all these games when you need to talk, I love these games. And of course, I love also the heavy games like Twilight Struggle, like Star Wars Rebellion, like Stronghold, my own game, but this is the same type of game. So the heavy, thinky game that takes about 2 to 3 hours with the loads of paths to victory. These games I love as well. So, but I have different phases. I would say that there's moments, for example, when I start playing a war game from GMT and I play Commands and Colors, etc. And there are some moments when I play party games. So I basically, of course, I love all the games. I'm really geek. I'm playing a lot of games. But yes, the games when you talk a lot, this is my favorite type.
We share something in common because I like negotiating games in games. So sometimes some of my friends think that, oh, you're creating alliances. The rules does not allow you to negotiate.
Yeah, sometimes my wife refuses to play with me when she sees that this game involved negotiations, she said, "No, I'm not playing with this jerk because he will be talking all the time. I cannot stand it," and she just leaves the table. Like there are such situations because when there's negotiation, I cannot shut up.
Yes, I've been known to make unofficial alliances with other players.
Every game becomes Rising Sun.
Exactly.
Yeah, this brought up one topic with us, which is our main topic for this upcoming podcast, called gaming etiquette. I wanted to get your opinions on what do you think are the do's and don'ts when it comes to board gaming. This is mostly for new players so that they know what are the unspoken rules. Do you have any ideas for gaming etiquette?
I would say, in general, when I play board games, I see we all behave quite nice and quite awesome, and I didn't have any terrifying moments in my gaming experience. And I'm speaking also about my friends, but also the conventions. Like basically, gamers are very polite, very kind people, and huge respect for this whole community. If I want to convince somebody to play a little bit even more kind and awesome, I strongly recommend to not do downtime. Like I'm strongly against the players who play very slowly. I don't know if you guys play slowly, but if you do, I would punch you in the face. Because what I mean by that, if you're spending 1 or 2 minutes on your round thinking what to do, what's the best move, you have to keep in mind that for these 2 minutes, other players are doing nothing and they are bored, and you are basically ruining their experience. So, of course, we all want to make the best move possible. We all want to think ahead and create a plan, and I respect that. And of course, there are some rounds during the game when you might say, "Guys, this is a crucial moment. Give me 5 minutes. Take your time. You go make a tea because now this is my 5 minutes. I have to think." And I respect if the player says something like that. Sometimes even I say something like that. But if every single damn round you take 3 or 4 minutes, this is not respect for other players. Like they have to wait over and over and over for you. So try to play a little bit faster. We all play for the fun. We all want to win. That's obvious. But maybe you don't need to win the game if you will be spending so much time making a downtime and making everybody else unhappy. So my only advice on game etiquette is don't make other players wait so long for their round. But basically, overall, gamers are very awesome people, and I'm speaking it from the experience from many conventions. I visited hundreds of conventions in my life. I played with thousands of people all around the globe on different countries, and all of you guys are rather funny guys with lots of sense of humor, and I'm really enjoying this hobby and community.
I absolutely agree. I think that gaming in pace and that really affects other people's experience. So a quick tip to our listeners: if you're gonna play with Ignacy, make sure to move fast, or he will punch you in the face.
Correct. This is official.
Yes. So yeah, you've been very helpful with us, Ignacy. We've known you as a game designer, your thoughts on the business side of things. But we have a few questions here that would just like to know you more personally. You know, a few questions. If you we call it the lightning round. We'll just ask you a series of questions. If you can answer them as quickly as you can without adding any explanation, would you be game to do that?
Perfect.
Right. So yeah, there's just a few questions. All right. Number 1. Would you rather text or talk?
Text.
All right. Okay. What's your favorite day of the week?
Monday.
Interesting. Flight or super strength?
No flight. No flight.
Okay. Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Cake or cookies?
Oh. Let's go for the cake because I have so many cookies at home. Like, oh my god.
All right. Co-op or competitive?
Competitive.
Food or games?
Games.
And yeah, that's it. Thank you for that. That was fun.
Thank you very much.
Yes, is there anything else you want to say? Final words for the people?
Yeah, I strongly recommend to find me online. As you can see, I talk a lot. I'm super passionate about the game. So if you are using Twitter, you can find me on Twitter and talk with me. You find me on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook. Like just go to portalgames.pl/en, find our website, learn about our upcoming products, upcoming Kickstarters, upcoming games, and be in touch. I'm a vivid gamer, vivid designer, so there's a lot of fun moments all around me. As I mentioned, we have a vlog, Portal Games vlog. You can find it on YouTube. We have a weekly show with a live stream for the fans, so fans can talk with us on YouTube every Monday. So there's a lot of places you can find me online. So don't hesitate. Either Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, YouTube. I'm always available for you to chat. So check me out.
Okay. All right. Yes. Again, my name is Ivan, and this is Andrew, and we would like to thank you again, Ignacy, for spending the time with us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. Absolutely.
Yeah. You have a good day.
Thank you.
Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you are still here, you got to the end of the episode. Thank you very much for your support. If you like this kind of content, make sure to like the video if you're watching it on YouTube, or give us a follow if you're listening to us on any of the podcast platforms. Let your friends know too, so that we can keep doing stuff like this. Everything helps. Our social media, along with Ignacy's, will be on the show notes. Again, thank you very much. Cheers!